What's up, guys? So today we have both Harima 2x and 10x at the same time, and this is very good event. I kind of almost wish this happened before Valentine's, because I already spent everything on Rotos 10x, and I wasn't expecting for an event like this happen. But let's first take a quick look at her skills. But basically I would say that for me, I want to get a +4 Rotos, but out of non-void shards, Harima is the best champion in the game, like for arena. Like the only two ones that are kind of close or you can compare her to is Duchess and Rotos. Now they are both very good, and I have both of those two. And if you already have Duchess, then it's a no-brainer that you want Harima. And nowadays with Python, maybe you don't even need a Duchess, or with Ukko as well. But basically, if we look at Harima's kit, she has very low base stats, which is kind of relevant and affects her because there is two different builds that you can use on her in defense. The most important skill on her is her passive, which reduces the defense ignore effects by 50%. And it also has the extra effect that she will always crit against demon spawn, which is kind of relevant because she has a taunt that will work against the Duchess and Mortu, that will go even through Stone Skin. But this is the most important part about her kit. What this will do is that it's the biggest damage mitigation effect for arena in the entire game. And we will take a quick look at an Excel sheet about the numbers in a second. But basically there's nothing that even comes close to this. The only one that is kind of close-ish, or not really, but Ursuka passive is better if enemy has no defense ignore effects. But even if enemy isn't using something like Baron or Georgid or Protoss, they will still have Helm Smasher, Savage set and Cruel set if they are like doing it properly. So in that situation they still have like 30 to 50% ignore defense, and Harima is still, at that point Harima is better than Ursuka. But the other skills are kind of okay, not super relevant, but a bit can be relevant. Her A3 puts a provoke on enemies for 1 turn, and this has the good effect that it cannot weak hit and it cannot be resisted by demon spawn. And this also cannot be blocked by Stone Skin, so it will always hit Duchesses and Mortals, which is kind of relevant. So you could use her, like, basically I will say that she's definitely a champion for defense. Like, unless you have multiple of her, I will definitely mainly consider her for defense unless you have like Taras and Maritska combo. And even if you have both of them, you might consider them all together. But if you build her for defense, you will probably want her to be 0 speed, unless you build her as snooker. And at that point, this skill isn't always used too early in the game, because if she's slow, then she's not gonna move before enemy Duchess and Mortu. But you always have the option to build her fast, and maybe you can disrupt the enemy team if she goes before Duchess, which is nowadays most people in offense use Duchess, just because of her like wail and increase attack and revive combo. It's just so good in general. Like, people are using her a lot more than Arbiter. So her A2 is just basic damage skill that kind of steals some defense and ramps up over time. And it's basically a nuker skill. And it's good. Oh, and yeah, it has the extra effect that if it gets a kill, it will activate her A3, which is the provoke. But yeah, this is just basic nuker skill. It's not very big deal if you build her as like full tank. But if you build her for nuke, it will ramp up over time and might do some damage. And then her A1 is just basically you can ignore this skill. Like, it has some debuffs, which can sometimes be bad. I guess it's the same with her A3 as well, if she procs polymorph. But if you build her for arena, you will not build any accuracy on her anyway, because her taunt doesn't, or her provoke doesn't need any accuracy anyway. So, but the two basic builds that you would do on her is that you could build her as a nuker for defense/offense, and if you do that build, there is the issue that she's very low HP, only 16k base HP. She might get one shot, unless she's also like protected by Necret. But if she isn't, she's still kind of easy to one shot with something like Baron or Georgid and so on. But you could use her as a nuker as well. And it can be kind of tricky for enemies because they might not be sure if you have a nuke Harima or full tank Harima. But yeah, that's an option. You could use her both in offense and defense in a nuker build. But mostly people would use her for defense. But like, if I had two Harimas, I would probably use her like one in offense and one in defense. But then the other build that is commonly used in defense is just going full tank on her. Like, you build her 0 speed, and either in bolster or stone skin, maybe stone skin, and build her as high HP as possible, like you would build any other revivers basically. And you want her to be so, because she only has 16k base HP, so it's still kind of it's not impossible to just one-shot her or bomb her and so on. So you will build her so slow and tanky that she won't be able to be killed because of reaction or stone skin, and the enemy is forced to like focus other people and stall the fight. And yeah, let's take a quick look at the damage spreadsheet, just so we get better idea. So I have shown this before, but this is a typical scenario where you have a Baron in a good but not insane nuker build for Platinum arena standards. And this calculator is taking into account everything like the masteries and ignore defense and so on. And what we can see from here is that the normal damage from this kind of good Baron is insane overkill. Like, it's gonna do 300 to 375k damage if it procs Helm Smasher, or 190 to 230k damage if it doesn't. And that's, you can't build that much HP, like that's gonna kill through everything always. And even if you add Duchess passive to that, as you can see in the numbers below, it's still nowhere close enough to protect anything. Like, if it does the lowest possible hit, like 141k, it's possible that you have very good like Duchess or Ursuka build, and they might survive this. But in general, even still, nothing is gonna survive this. But then if you add Harima to it, and this is only calculating Harima, like here below we have both, where is it? Duchess and Harima is here. But it's 90k at lowest with only Harima. And at this point, pretty much every single reviver built in HP would survive this skill. And even if it procs Helm Smasher, it's still possible to survive this skill at 127k, because the best revivers, like if you have +4 Duchess in good gear, you're looking at maybe 150k HP. But even at +4, I mean +0, 130 plus k HP isn't impossible. I think it's mine 133k out of top of my head, I think. But if you happen to have both Duchess and Harima, which is very realistic, like if you're gonna use Harima and you have a Duchess as well, you will probably use them both together. If you get to this point, then these numbers are very like practical. Like at this point, even tanky nukers, maybe HP scaling nukers, or maybe Rotos that gets one A2 out, even they can survive Baron nuke. And this will make the fight last way longer. Like, this changes the entire game for this defense style. And when the Baron does this little damage, you don't even have to use stone skin sets anymore. Like, the issue with shield set, or bolster and shield, is that they stack together, and they are very strong combo. and the bolster set happened to be released just before Baron buff. But because of Baron buff, he's able to hit very hard, ignoring defense and shields, and able to kill targets through shields, even if you stack bolster and shield sets. But if you make a team with Harima, it's possible to not, and that's why you have to use Stone Skin, because if you don't have anybody in Stone Skin, then Baron can maybe just one-tap your entire team and it will fuck you up. But if you have Harima in your team, either in tanky or in nuker build, with this combo you could build your entire team with like 2 or 3 bolster sets / shield sets, and you don't need anybody in Stone Skin at this point anymore. And this will make your team good against Barons, and it will make your team insanely slow fight against anything else. Like when they don't ignore defense, and if you have slow tanky support champions in your team, it's gonna take them forever to defeat your team. And that's why most people will avoid it, or then they're gonna do a very long fight against you. But that's the kind of medium, not super short, but like let's say medium length explanation why she is so good. Like I would definitely say that in my rankings, like Taras and Maritska are kind of overshadowing Harima, because they are like OP, like they're literally too strong. But even if they didn't exist, I would say that Harima is also like borderline OP, and I was actually talking about that before the Taras and Maritska were released, that I'm not sure if this is like, if this is too good, but yeah, I don't have a lot of shards left, sadly. Like I went all in on Rotos. Like even during the Rotos event I was saying that I'm also hoping to get Maritska, I mean Harima. And outside of Rotos, second Duchess or Harima are the only non-void champions that I care about. So if Harima didn't exist in the game, I would always just pull Rotos 10x, which I will still do. But Harima is the only thing that is kind of making me hesitate about doing it. But so this is 10x with 2x, but it's also 10x even for non-ancients, so I'm just gonna pull Sacreds and everything and let's see. But realistically I only got couple shards, so I'm not gonna get anything, but yeah. I hope you guys better luck with your Harima pulls, and I definitely do recommend everybody that cares about the arena to try pull for this. Like these kind of events don't really happen often, and it's a very special event, so yeah. I have a champion guide coming tomorrow, and I think another account guide the next day as well. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your Harima pulls.